First of all, I must say it came as a bit of a shock when I learned officially that I had dementia. I sang in a choir, that both of us sing in a choir, local choir, and I found that I was finding it difficult to keep up with the choir when they were singing fast things, fast music. I couldn't fit the words in with the music. So that gave me some suspicion that I had something wrong. And I left the choir because of that, because you can't sing in a choir unless you're all in tune and in time. So, as I say, it did come as a bit of a shock to me. After that, I went to see a specialist who confirmed that I had dementia.
It didn't affect me too much because it was no surprise to me. He seemed to feel quite relieved that he'd got a diagnosis. And for me, I didn't really have time for it to bother me because within days, I think, we had a visit from the Alzheimer's Society who showed us where to go, really, showed us what to do, gave us all the help that we needed. So it wasn't too bad.
I've only got mild dementia, but I have discovered that it determines very much on the things that I've been doing. I get tired later on in the day, and the dementia becomes more obvious at that time. So in many respects, it doesn't affect me all that much. But there are certain things that I do. For instance, we are interested in photography. We both go to a photographic club. And the thing that they were doing last time was to look at certain items which they call colour popping, which is bringing out colours in certain things. And I had done it before, but I couldn't remember how to do it. So we looked up the book. Now, that stressed me. Mm-hmm. And directly when I was stressed, for the rest of the day, I wasn't with it at all. I didn't know what was happening. I just felt confused all the time. Mm-hmm. So that sort of thing will confuse me and send me off steer, really.
Some of the old skills as well, he gets a bit forgetful. He'll start off fine. When he starts to get tired, when his brain's getting tired, then he starts to get confused. One of the differences it's made to us is we don't travel much now anymore. We don't travel abroad anymore. He finds that too stressful. Yeah. And for me, I think it's finding things that he can occupy himself with that will stimulate him, and knowing when to stop, knowing when he's getting tired, and not letting it get to him like he's just said it does. Yeah. So we have to really learn a different way of living, really. Yeah. But we manage.
One of the things I was determined to do right from the start was make it publicly known that I had dementia. After all, it wasn't anything to do with me, in the fact that it's not because I drink or smoke or don't do exercise or anything of that nature. It's completely outside of myself. So, recognising that, I wanted to make sure that people understood that I had dementia. And most of our friends are in our local church, and we have a church magazine, and I did an article telling them how dementia affects me. I did find that certain people were asking me to do things because I had been a leader within the church for a number of years, and they expected me to, if we had a meeting, they would expect me to lead in the meeting very often. And I had to tell them that I wouldn't be able to do that anymore. I wanted to opt out of that sort of thing. Depends on the time of the day, and it depends very much on what I've been doing. The majority of the time, we just get on with our life as normal. We adjust certain things to make sure I don't get too tired, I don't get stressed. But apart from that, the majority of the time we just get on with our lives as we would normally.
Well, I have said we had a visit from Alzheimer's Society, and they've been extremely supportive. If we've got any questions, we only need to ask. Also, Mike has mentioned our friends in the church, and particularly amongst the women, we've got quite a group of people who will pray for each other, and so I know that if I have any problems I can get in touch with them, and that's not only prayer but that's also physical help as well.
In one sense I enjoy it, not because I'm a film star now, but because I understand it a little. It's maybe go into it and research it a bit. I've made new friends and I'm able to help other people who have dementia.
Should make it clear that you're not a film star, not yet anyway. But yes, it's a matter of living the life that you can live given the drawbacks that you have. I would say, first of all, get all the help you can get. There's plenty of help out there. Alzheimer's Society have lots of leaflets on different aspects of dementia. They're very supportive. There are other organisations, there's Age UK, Home Instead, and all these other local organisations that are very, very helpful. That's the first thing. The second thing is, for a carer, look after yourself, make sure your health is okay, and make sure your social life is still there as well. Don't allow yourself to become isolated. And there's a third point, and that is, we know that it's a progressive thing, but don't be worrying about the future, because today is today, and let's get on with today and make it as good as we can.
For the individual concerned, I would say don't be ashamed of having dementia. It's nothing to do with you, it's nothing you have done which has given you dementia. So advertise it among the family particularly, let them know and be aware that you have dementia and how it will affect you, and maybe affect your relationship with them and the conversations you have with them. For the carers, make it known that they are still a valuable individual. They haven't lost the gifts that they have. They can still be part of the family and take a vital part within the family. When somebody tells you they have dementia or is aware that they have dementia, then you need to recognise that it's not the same as other people. You need to understand that everybody who has dementia is a different individual. You remember certain things about them. Just try to concentrate on the things that you know and you love about that person. First of all, my relationship with Amanda is such that I'm quite happy to talk to her about the illness and the way it's affecting me. But it's also helpful when she says, would you come and do something? Whether it be a meeting of this nature, a kind of committee meeting of people that have an interest, then certainly anything that I can do in that sort of situation, I will go out of my way to try and do. I believe that this is an opportunity to use the things that I have for the benefit of others. And there are kind of committee meetings that we have of different people in different jobs, and talking to them helps them to understand what dementia is all about and how it affects me personally. Yeah, but part of the problem that I have is that I am slightly deaf. And when people know that you're deaf and they can see my earpieces and such like, they tend to, ignore you really, because it's quite difficult trying to talk to somebody who is slightly deaf. You have to emphasise what you're saying, and sometimes I don't hear, so they have to. I would ask them really to repeat what they've said, so that I can hear it better, and I can almost kind of lip read. I don't lip read, but you can understand from their faces and their attitude what they're trying to say to you.
Although his hearing is a problem, I think it's compounded by the fact that he doesn't always quickly process what he's hearing anyway. So it is good for people to repeat or change the wording slightly so that he's grasping what they're actually saying. Certainly I find that for me when I'm communicating with him. Slowing down and taking the words one at a time, not and bringing them all together,
Just looking at me, really. I mean, this is probably more of a difficulty at home than it is when I'm in a group of people. But at home, we tend to both sit there watching the television, which means that Doreen isn't actually facing me at all. And if you're talking to somebody who is slightly deaf or has got dementia and can't understand the things very quickly, then you do need to face them.